Later that night, Alf turns around and sees Charlie sleeping on Louie as a cushion, grabbing his nose, sadly saying squeaky in his sleep again.
So welcome back to Pikmin 3. In the last episode, we were in the tropical wilds trying to clear up what we could. Today, we're actually going to do something a little different. We will be returning to the tropical wilds, but the thing is, as I stated before in previous days, we actually don't have many fruit pieces to collect. Not just in the tropical wilds, but also in the distant tundra, as well as the Twilight River. So, today, what I actually want to do is gather up all of the remaining fruits from each area. We only have a grand total of 10, according to Alf. So, we're gonna go and take care of that right now, actually.
It's funny that Louie was on the ground at the start of day 11, but now he's floating around.
I like to think it's not even like any anti-gravity, he just does that.
He's unhinged.
Yeah. You think that rope is gonna contain him?
Go here, for fuck's sake.
Use it, Yoshi. I do use it. It's just I don't use it often in these parts.
And I'm not recording at the time.
Yeah. Even though we actually need the help of the blue Pikmin, we only need 2 of them. And we're, as usual, going to use our pinks. On top of that, we're actually going to bring out our good friend, the rock Pikmin. Since we only have literally 2 pieces of fruit to collect here. One of them involves the blue Pikmin, or at least we need them to access the area we need to get to, hence why I'm setting up all these wing Pikmin right here. And the other area, we don't actually need them at all. But we do, in fact, need the rocks. Not 100% necessarily need the rock Pikmin, but it certainly makes what we're going to do next easier. If you remember when we came here in the previous day, we threw a rock at a bulborb that was here, and then we broke down this electric fence. I wanted to dismiss the pink Pikmin closer to me. There we go. they decided to hang back for some reason. So I came here with the rocks, because, hey look, it's our good old friend, not quite BTW Long Legs.
It's a Long Legs.
It is a certain Long Legs. So, Alf gets crushed, which is very unfortunate, but look, it did like nothing on him. This BTW Long Legs kind of creature is actually a shaggy Long Legs. The gimmick with this is that, on top of being able to climb on its legs, what you actually have to do is you actually have to go and throw your Pikmin, in this case the rock Pikmin, up to each leg point and have them strip off every little bit of hair on each point.
And he wanted to be rocks because they can't be crushed to death.
Exactly. That's why we brought the rocks. Because the shaggy long legs can stomp on them all day long and they're just not going to react to it. You have to strip every little bit of the puffs of hair on its legs. Because when you do, you can actually see at the core that its hair is starting to get thinner and thinner.
Yeah.
So we're giving it a haircut, essentially. Once you strip off all the hair, just call in your pink Pikmin and just have them go to town. I could have used any of the spicy spray, but since I figured this was already pretty easy enough, I didn't bother.
Amusingly, in the challenge mode, he doesn't have hair, and he's just called BTW Long Legs, which feels really flippant to me.
What, was BTW not good enough? Or I guess they just think the orange one is BTW because it's just a circle. Baldy.
Well, so is he.
Yeah, you know what? Are they trying to retcon BTW Long Legs? This will not stand as a Pikmin purist.
I like that they get stuck on each other.
Yeah, they get stuck, and I like how that one fixes itself on its own, but these guys are struggling. At first I thought maybe I needed to redo the fight or something, but I saw that they were slowly inching their way off, so I didn't bother.
They have the rest of the day, they'll make it.
Yeah, they have an entire day. We're not doing anything else. So now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna go and collect the final fruit in this area. As soon as we get past these skitter leaves and go into this little alcove. Or should I say bridge, there's no alcove. So, we have our blue Pikmin. The first bomb rock is gonna take care of this dirt wall. We actually still need that second bomb. These little guppies attack my pink Pikmin. Unfortunately, I can't save him, for I only have one, and I don't want to charge my 2 blues to, like, waste the bomb rock, since I want to use the bomb rock on this thing right here.
Is this the only time you see the Crush Blat in the story mode?
This is literally the only time you see this creature.
Because you see him a lot in the challenge mode.
Charging at it is only going to make your pink Pikmin attack its legs, so I recommend just chucking them at it. If you somehow manage to come here with more bombs, then it becomes even easier.
Yeah, you want to be careful, though, because he jumps and crushes the Pikmin.
Yeah, like, don't worry so much about, like, the head inflating move, but the whole jumping and crushing thing. I was gonna leave him, but then I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and collect them since they're already going on their way. And, I end up making a little Pikmin flower crown. It just carries him away.
It's like putting makeup on a corpse.
Yeah.
Making him look better for the funeral.
So we take our crushed bat Jesus and we bring him back here.
He wore a crown of thorns. Here he wears a crown of the things that killed him.
We have those 2 first collected. I throw Charlie up there because there's actually one extra thing I want him to look at. I didn't do it in the previous day because I didn't want to waste any time. And I also go here with Alf and some of the Pikmin because there was a data file that I missed the first time I was here in Tropical Wilds and I wanted to collect it. Even though this is stupid info that I don't need anymore, it's really my fault for not picking it up when I did. But the artwork looks nice. Another thing I want to do is I want to have Brittany start farming some of these berries here. I came here with 20 red Pikmin, 5 will do, but I just figured I just needed the extra just in case.
It's speed, I guess.
Yeah. So I throw Charlie up here because I want him to grab this particular data file. Because this one is actually also from Olimar. Once again, just proving how much of a good dad Captain Olimar actually is.
And taking an extended holiday, like when I first crash-landed here.
The ironic thing was because I was doing my job and I said, God damn it, if only I could get away from my family. But it changed me once I crash-landed.
Damn it, why is my timing always off?
How come I never get to actually demonstrate my tongue ability? Yoshi, come back now.
Yoshi, come back?
That's not a thing I honestly ever hear. They say we recovered 3 fruits, but I consider the fruits that are forced in half, I consider them to be 1. Because the game kind of registers at that too, when you bring in like 2 halves of a fruit. You see like 1 half, and then when the other part gets put together, they just stitch them and call it considered 1 fruit.
Right.
So I'm just gonna go with 1 fruit.
That is something. There's one speedrunner, I don't know if this is a speedrun type that multiple people have done, but I saw one speedrunner do a no-fruit run, but in order to get past the whole you'd actually need fruit to survive thing, they would only collect like a few of the grapes, or something where you would need all of the pieces in order for it to count as a full fruit, and then all those pieces together would give them enough juice to survive through the end of the game.
That honestly actually sounds like kind of a fun run to do. I mean, it'd be difficult, but like, all you would have to do is get all the main stuff, and just as soon as you unlock Formidable Oak, you're ready to go. Provided you also have enough Pikmin. So that completely cleans out the Tropical Wilds, but we're not done just yet.
You know, with the thrusters on the Onion, I wonder if they could break orbit. Because your ship can, even though it doesn't have a real rocket. But
that is a thing to consider. Like, I do wonder. I'm assuming that the onions, they're found here on Earth, but presumably, if the ending to Pikmin 1 is to be believed, the good ending, there should presumably be onions scattered around through other planets. And I imagine they can't just, like, daintily fly over there, like with their little propeller. Presumably they might actually be able to go into higher speeds?
I think that only counted as higher orbit.
Yeah, maybe. More things to think about. Brittany mentioned talking about Alf running for office just because he had the bright idea of, maybe we shouldn't be stupid. But, they actually do get to touch upon that conversation again.
Isn't that basically what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez runs on? Hey, can we not be stupid?
Here in the Twilight River, we only have a few pieces to go to, and I actually pull out a lot of blues because we actually do in fact need them. But I also pull out some of the pinks and some of the reds. The cool thing about having extra time, aside from clearing your main objectives and farming, is that you tend to have a lot of resources, like the berries. Some areas contain a lot of these trees where you can just farm a whole bunch of berries, and I actually want to spend the time to take advantage of that. Especially since we're going to be harvesting these all day. Here's where I basically decide, okay, we just need 5 reds, so I leave Brittany here. Brittany is going to be doing that the entire day, because we don't need all 3 captains to solve all the puzzles. We're going to go back near base, and start farming a little for blues too, just because I can.
You got the itch after farming so many in Pikmin 1.
Yeah. We collect our citrus lump here, and we're already halfway done. The other fruit, if you recall, was actually near where we fought the Snagret, where we first took note of it, and it was like, gee, if only we had blues.
Over in the corner of the river.
Yeah. Another cool thing is that I can just throw my red Pikmin there, which is what I was aiming to do. So Alf and Brittany are actually going to be on berry delivery, or berry duty, I should say, while we're going to have Charlie go and actually go find the fruits. Here's where we fought the Snagret. And here is where the fruit is, as well as a little surprise for fans of Pikmin 2.
Aha.
Her Toady Bloister here. Aquatic combat makes this a joke, but still, it's nice to see him.
And he does have an additional trick with that ink.
That is also true. I wish they had the big version where you had to, like, switch between leaders in order to, like, mess with it or attack it.
That would mean just randomly, as you're walking around here, you see the Bloister start crawling out of the river. Like Godzilla.
Amazing. I was kind of hoping they would have the big one so that way you had, like, 3 captains to switch between, so it makes the fight even harder. I immediately start rushing to gather everybody, but unfortunately that one red got left behind. And I'm trying to stop all of my red Pikmin from farming. If you can see, my spray count is at 14.
I think you're fine.
Yeah, I have absolutely more than enough. I'm on 0, I should be cutting it close. Just got him.
How did you pull that off?
I have no idea. I think what honestly might have happened was when Alf got sent off of the lily pad, I guess the game was giving me a few extra, like, in-game seconds to, like, oh, we need the character to complete that action before we can end the day. And my range was just long enough to grab the last remaining reds. I completely lucked out, and that's why I left that in. That's the second time I luck out in Twilight River, by the way. It looks unimpressive, but when you've already cleaned out most of the areas, what can you do?
Yeah. Until you get to 79, I'm not gonna care. Is that the only apple in the game? Or was there another one?
I want...
And was that even an apple?
You know, I think it might have been those ones you get at... I don't want to say the dollar store, but at one of the cheap farmer markets. Because I actually have no idea what kind of fruit it is. I'm gonna go with what you said and say perhaps, but maybe it wasn't the only one. This is the third time Brittany in a row collectively has said, man, I really wish I didn't have to share my juice. Have I mentioned that I don't want to share my juice? Other than getting the fruits that I was looking for and farming the berries, I think I ended up doing a bit of growth with some of the other Pikmin types because I had the opportunity to. It's best when you have the extra time, unless you're like trying to do a sort of challenge run of sorts. If you have the extra time and all your objectives are clear, spend time farming what you can. In hindsight, despite all the work I did, like, if there's one thing I regret, is that I keep my rock Pikmin count extremely low. Not because, oh man, this bites me in the ass later, but because I end with an uneven number. I end with an odd one.
And that's the important thing.
That's the important thing.
Well, it's like with ammo, you gotta farm for some of it. Because you're throwing them.
Absolutely.
You are the David to the planet's Goliath. And if you miss, you need more rocks.
Well, all the planet has to do is hit me in my ankle. It's big enough, it might crush me. So.
Charlie's still knocked out there.
I love how that's still one of the... Like, imagine, like, you know how, like, tourist pamphlets or videos are always like, come to California, and they have, like, different images? That's the one for distant tundra. Collapse in below zero weather! I personally love this conversation because Brittany's just talking about how they fail as a species. The Copites are somehow really smart but really stupid at the same time.
Well, yeah. That's sapiens for you.
But I love how she mentioned, hey, Alf, you should run for office. And then when she literally had a line saying, one of our core flaws is that we have a hard time accepting cold, hard truths, he's like, nah, that can't be it. You'd be a great politician, Alf. So, now that we are in the distant, we scream because the distant tundra is fun, but also because we have over 90. Get used to the pink Pikmin noises, by the way.
Goose.
I think Charlie got stabbed there, but he'll be all right.
I don't think he took any damage.
Oh, that's good. If anything, he might have like found a quarter and accidentally like evaded it.
Like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. So I threw Charlie and Brittany here. I have them attack the snitch bug. Not because I really wanted to kill the snitch bug, it was because I was actually just trying to get here. But that's a bonus. We only have 6 remaining fruits left to go. Things are split pretty evenly. Like, they're not necessarily difficult to get through. Our previous visits here have basically cleared up any, like, big fights we need to take care of. But there are just still some interesting things to look at here.
It's a good thing with these mushrooms, inertia doesn't count.
In hindsight, looking at this, I was wondering, like, I wonder if I could just make my winged Pikmin charge at it? Because I know you can make them charge into a mushroom if you're stationary, if you're at above level, but in that instance, I didn't try it. Somebody figure that out for me, if possible.
I read that as bearded armpits.
I mean, I don't think I'd be all that surprised if there was an enemy called like that. If we're gonna go with Shaggy Long Legs and Baldy Long Legs.
It's just an arm reaching out. There's a bunch of hair at the base. It's like it's a new version of the Snaggerit, except it can't eat the Pikmin.
Is it bad that the first thing I thought of was bearded arm legs, which makes no sense?
Well, there's a good chunk of the enemies in Pikmin that have no mouths.
So, since we have that orange heading our way, I'm gonna use the blue Pikmin here to help me out and get the one thing that I think you can actually gather them with winged Pikmin, but in this instance I wanted to be safe. Oh, no, actually I do need the blue Pikmin. When the winged Pikmin knock down this particular fruit, anytime you knock something off, they always, like, get pushed to the ground and flop. So that's why we absolutely need the blues for it. Like that.
Those skeeters aren't really a danger, are they?
They're not for blue Pikmin, because they're immune to water. Any other type would have a problem, and have the drowning issue. I also make sure to take care of this guy really quick. There's a very high chance that he would kill the blues on the way over here.
That electricity, I'm guessing the stun is like with the fire, where you can blow the whistle and they'll be fine, but if you wait too long, they'll die?
Yeah. I feel like it's more likely with fire, because sometimes I notice when the Pikmin get electrocuted, they're in a stun-like state, but they're not necessarily in pain either. I think for electricity, if I leave them for too long, they will die, but there's another stunned state we'll actually be seeing later on. It kind of shows what I'm talking about, because it's weird. It's like, they're unconscious, but they're not, but they also don't want to wake up. It's really weird.
I've been in a situation where I've been in pain and not felt it. I've walked into an air conditioner once.
Because it's not like sleep paralysis either. Because they're definitely awake. I don't want to say mini seizure either, because I feel like that's not right either. We'll see it when we get there. This area is a little special because, are you fans of bull bears?
Nobody is.
No, nobody is. And unfortunately that fire spout ended up feeding some to him. But that's okay. What I actually came here for was for that fruit right there, as well as all these bombs. Because these bombs are actually going to have an interesting application. Funnily enough, the mini bull bears actually can't reach your pink Pikmin. Like, at all, because they're just too high. Unless they try to, like, dip lower to the ground. Like they just did, then absolutely they can get eaten. Also being very careful, trying to not get the fire slugs to touch even a single one of these bombs.
It'll be fine.
You know, we might have a party wipe of sorts, but you know.
Fire doesn't beget fire.
And we have like 100 million other pink Pikmin, it's not a big deal.
What if the red Pikmin learned how to fly?
Huh.
Then they could eat the rocks.
And they'll become flying explosive Pikmin.
That would be... well...
Depressing.
That was very cartoony. Just slammed her on the wall, she slowly slid down.
It just needed the little slide whistle effect or the... So Charlie unfortunately gets crushed, but pay close attention to that pink Pikmin that get knocked over. So now that we have all these bombs, we can actually make this fight much easier. The bombs instantly strip the hair off of the legs. Once you get all the hair off, the bombs won't do any more damage, so that's when you can make them charge. So I end up having all these extra Pikmin that, extra bombs, I should say, that I don't actually necessarily need. So as you can see, some of the Pikmin are on the ground, and they can't get up. I end up not whistling them for a while, but they don't count as dead. They're just like in this looped infinite state where they just can't do anything.
You know when you trip, you lie on the ground, you take a second to gather yourself.
Well, I mean, depending on how I fell, it's either gonna be, or I'm just gonna stare at the sky and just go, really?
Did I earn that?
Did I deserve that? Maybe. But did today have to be the day? Also maybe.
Yeah.
I did that.
I think you sent all of your leaves to carry the thing.
I believe I did. That was also partially the reason why I didn't end up flowering them, is because I knew I was going to run into a lot of nectar. Or it's because I just simply didn't need them. That being said, I still highly recommend when you get the opportunity to make your leaves into flowers, absolutely take that chance.
I like that they carry it by the tips.
Yeah. I kind of end up regretting not farming for this berry, and regretting in the sense of, oh man, I could have had like 40 bitter sprays on top of my already high count of bitter sprays. I should say ultra sprays, not bitter sprays. Even though there's a stick right there that I built for your Pikmin to climb up and gather the fruit that's up there, you can also just make your winged Pikmin grab it. I'm sure when Pikmin 4 comes out, there's gonna be no winged Pikmin at all.
Or if anything, they're gonna be nerfed a bit.
Yeah. Hey, they can fly sometimes. Oh, that's nice.
They can fly if they like you.
If they don't, they'll just carry you and drop you into the nearest volcano.
It could be kind of like with this game where they just decided not to use the purples and the whites and came up with something new, so maybe they'll do that again next time.
Yeah, maybe. I would imagine. In the mission modes, it is absolutely possible to have all 7 Pikmin types at your disposal. I found that it ends up being a little bloated and too superfluous, so making 2 new different types honestly was the better move. That being said, I still like my purple Pikmin. So, with Distant Tundra officially clear, we have officially gathered every last piece of fruit.
After drinking straight lemon juice, I have learned my lesson.
After drinking lemon juice, I realized that I have really bad tastes. For a second, I thought that said astringent chimp, but that's I like to think I'm not dyslexic, but I'm just not very smart. We could drink that, right?
That's a Sekiro boss. Look at that, you passed 79. I finally respect you.
Aw, thanks. You know, I figured with the over 9 years of friendship, you would eventually get there. I'm glad that's what it took.
I'm the tortoise against your hair.
I loved you by day 1. We're basically ready to end this game. The only thing that's left is to go to the Formidable Oak and try to see if Olimar actually has our Cosmic Drive key. We lost some pinks, but you saw the numbers shoot back up immediately, so we're fine. I'll at least give Brittany the benefit of the doubt here that this end-of-day message is actually plot relevant. It actually feels like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if, like, you were in the Navy or something, and you've accomplished your mission, but you left your car keys somewhere.
Well, we ended up fighting against that enemy submarine. Unfortunately, I think at one point I panicked and I threw my keys at said submarine, but we were inside the submarine and it fell through a pipe and I can't get it. And I'm too embarrassed to go up to the colonel. I have no idea how, like, Navy ranking systems work. I probably just said a bunch of malarkey, and there's somebody who's actually in the Navy being like, Yoshi, just stop talking.
You could have said captain, that covers anything.
Yeah. Fleet Admiral's like Butler, right? That's a joke, I know it's a joke.
In private is something you don't tell someone, right?
Alright, private secret. Here's the mission.
He says to his journal.
My joke wasn't even very good. I was trying to suggest that he threw the keys out into the ocean, but then if the fucking... Alright, the submarine had a crack in it and water was filtering in, they would have died, so that joke failed immediately. I apologize.
Well, I mean, the keys are still lost.
They are. That was the point.
Well, next time, end of the LP.
In the next episode, we're gonna go to the Formidable Oak, and we're gonna clear it.